Hello and welcome back to Unlisted. This is episode 8 of our hyper-local real estate development news podcast.
And other stuff.
Yep, and I'm back with my man-hating bangs for the internet.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
Men don't like bangs.
Men don't like bangs.
I had no idea.
Did you know this, John, that men don't...
My daughter has bangs.
Okay.
And you don't hate her?
No. The amount of messages that I get
Comments on our
about
videos
bangs.
about your bangs.
Yeah.
That and your eyebrows. What I think they mean your lashes, but they say your eyebrows.
But, yeah, about my bangs. Like, ugh, gotta do something with those bangs.
Anyway, episode 8.
Yeah.
What are we going to talk about, Rach?
Well, the first thing we're going to talk about is there's a controversy about coming soon listings. So, and off-market pocket listings. Now, so I'm going to just translate that really quick for the average consumer. So lately there has been a power struggle, I'll call it, between Compass, the real estate brokerage, Zillow, Redfin, about pocket listing. So a pocket listing is a listing that one brokerage has access to. Correct. And they only share it internally. Compass has been doing this for a while, and Zillow has said, well, if you're going to have coming soon listings that you're not putting in the MLS and you're not putting on Zillow.
I think you need to call them pre-market, not coming soon, because coming soon go out to everybody.
Yeah, some states have
more
them,
like
some
a pre.
Yeah, but it's a pocket listing.
They wouldn't call it that either, but it's just like the old school pocket listing.
It is an old school, right? So and Zillow was like, well, we're not going to allow you on Zillow at all if you don't give us access to them. Compass was like, yeah, okay, good luck with that. So that's been the kind of argument and
it's been going from one company to another. Our company has an argument going, and supposedly
so now it's
whatever.
become like everyone, and then it's like, I don't know. Anyway, so why don't we talk a little bit about what like a pre-market listing is? Mm-hmm. And is it good for you as a seller? Is it good for you as a buyer? Like, what's the tea on the pocket listing or the coming soon listing? What is a pre-market listing?
So a pre-market listing is I come to your home.
Yeah.
I'm going to break it right down. I come to your home and I say, look, we can put your house on the market to the whole world, or why don't we test the price and see if how people react? We're just going to bring people through from our company. Yeah. And maybe you'll get a quick sale. So it would be something. It's not an MLS.
It's not open to the entire market.
Nope. It may be on the Compass list webpage. Yep. As a private listing. It's called a private listing. Private listing. So that's what it is.
Yep. Okay. So how is that different than just putting your house on the MLS?
Yeah. So if you put your home on the MLS, all these third-party sites like Zillow, Redfin, even the major sites, Coldwell Banker, Remax, everybody gets what's called an IDX feed. It feeds the data right out of MLS to all these websites. If you have a private listing, it only goes to that office's
internal
agents
website.
Yep, that's what it is. It only goes to them.
So it's different because the whole market doesn't have access to it like they would if it was put on the public MLS. Only people that
work with that company have access to it.
So, for example, like if I was a buyer, I would have to have, we're going to use Compass as an example because they're like the biggest.
They're the biggest advocates
of this, right. So if I am not working with a Compass agent, then I probably wouldn't have access to one of these coming soon listings. That's correct. Okay, so why do some sellers like the idea of it? Because I don't. Yeah.
Well, I think to a degree, it's a good sales pitch that sellers, and you can sell anything, features and benefits. And I think the features and benefits they say is that you're going to test the market, you're going to get initial reactions without having to do a price reduction
or put it on the market and rack up days on market.
Right, but it's the advantage to the seller. They say is that they have highly qualified people, and they're only going to show them to highly qualified people, and that they will have an opportunity to see what the market thinks before it's on the open market, if it's going to go on the open market.
When does it actually make sense to do this? Is there a scenario in which, like, because in my mind I don't see the benefit to the seller, but are there some scenarios in which, like, that might be in the best interest of the seller?
So, I mean, I think that if somebody didn't care about money, there are some people that just want to get their house sold. They don't want the aggravation. Literally,
they don't want to have open houses.
They have a pretty good price range of what they don't want to have open houses. They don't want people looking in their bathrooms. They just don't want any of that. And if you could circumvent that and not lose any money, that would be a great idea. So my feeling is, if I have an old Volkswagen I'm selling, for instance, and I put it in my lawn and I put a sign on it, and I call my 5 friends who are Volkswagen nuts, or I put it on Facebook Marketplace, what's the better chance it's going to sell?
Right.
It's going to sell because there's more exposure. It's just it's a market effect.
I mean, sometimes those Volkswagens do sell within Volkswagen only groups because they want it to go to the right home.
and that is that could be a bit of it too. But
anyway.
But we do have protected classes in, you can't discriminate.
You can in car sales.
Well, the other thing, this is sort of interesting. This is one little factoid completely off the subject. You can discriminate in one place in the country. There's one place in the country where you cannot legally discriminate against party affiliation. You cannot
Washington, D.C.?
Yes. You cannot say, I won't sell this to Republican. Don't even show my home to a Democrat.
You can do that in any state except for in the district. Well, it's not a state, but the District of Columbia is the only place that you cannot discriminate.
Anyway, let's get back to our off-market listings.
Woo! All right. What's the biggest upside of it? Time?
It could be.
Aggravation?
It could be. I don't really see an upside, so I have a very, I think part of my perspective has to do with starting in real estate when we didn't have an MLS at all. And that's basically what they're doing. They're like not putting an MLS, so it doesn't. And I think also some of those organizations are also trying to get rid of MLS altogether, make a national MLS. There's all kinds of other. Any market where there's money, there's going to be lawsuits and people trying to figure out ways to capture the majority of that market. That's all I'm going to say about that.
So who do you, then I'll ask, who do you think it benefits the most?
The agent, obviously.
Why?
Well, I was at a open house the other day, and the agent said to me, "Oh, we love it. We sold 30 listings in our office this month on
both sides, and getting both
sides of the transaction to buyers and sellers that don't know what that means. The buyer's agent gets a commission, the seller's agent gets a commission.
And they both work for the same company. So that means that the company is getting double the money.
Making more money.
Yes.
Right. And I don't see how it's a good strategy for sellers at all. I think I'm willing to offer it. If somebody really wants to do that, we'll do it for you. But
we've done it before.
We've done it before with specific places. I could see something that's I was going to say a dump, but I mean a real fixer-upper. That's why we buy homes for cash. We buy ugly houses. That's why they were able to, because some people are embarrassed by what their house looks like.
And they don't want people in it.
Yeah, and so maybe it's good for those people, but
people that have privacy concerns, or
but I really think, it's
like a wealthy person that doesn't want people knowing where they live. But even celebrities put their houses on the open market,
and it doesn't have a owned by Michael Jordan sign on the front door. I mean, those that know, but but I think that to me, transparency is the key to all of this. And it's the same thing when we sit down with a buyer or seller and tell them about our fees and how we work. You've got to know everything. You got to know that we can't tell you anymore. Excuse me. That you can't have a home. You can't waive a home inspection.
Right. So you think that misrepresenting the benefits or not talking about the negatives of this is a lack of transparency, is what you're saying?
I do.
It's being sold to sellers like, this is fantastic and it's so good for you.
I think it's a lack of transparency to buyers. I'm a buyer. I want to know about that house that's for sale. Why?
Well, then you should work with an agent and that company.
That's the goal. The goal is not. I don't believe the goal is to get the highest price, and I think that is, as they say, our fiduciary responsibility is to represent our clients to their needs, not to my needs.
Right.
So
it's less work for the agent.
I feel pretty passionate about it.
Yeah.
I remember back before we had MLS, when we had MLS books, and even before that, before I owned a home, it was signs. you would put a sign up.
Yeah.
You know, Fitzgerald Real Estate or ABC, you know, some local name like that, or whatever. And you would have to know that person. And if you were lucky, your agent knew that person and could call them. And at that point, you both, I'm not even going to open this can of worms, you both represented the seller.
There's no buyer agency.
There's no buyer agency. We've come a long way from that, and I don't want to go back.
Right.
I don't want to go back to people like calling me and saying, why didn't I know about that house?
Yeah. Well, but so some of these coming soon listings are being syndicated to different websites. So like, for example, on Redfin, I believe, Compass coming soon listings do show up on Redfin. Mm-hmm. So it will have a banner at the top that says Compass coming soon listing. Mm-hmm. So the whole internet can see it, but only if they use Redfin, because I believe that, you know, they're partnering with Redfin to do that. It's just like,
there's all these little side deals and stuff going on. I don't like them.
Yeah.
You know, if you list your house it's put on Zillow and that person, somebody clicks on the button and calls the person, it isn't the listing agent, and they never say it isn't the listing agent, and they don't even know who they're talking to, and suddenly they're being represented and they haven't even signed a representation. And that's not transparent to me.
Yeah.
That's bait and switch.
Got it.
So that's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. So what about, you love Salem, and Salem loves you. Funding for 3 new projects, adaptive reuse of historic courthouse. And that's kind of cool, because I've always liked those beautiful buildings on Federal Street. We used to have the Registry of Deeds there many, many years ago.
Family Court.
Family
Court was
no, it's right there.
2 doors down.
It was
the last
street.
time I went, it was in the newer building.
Well, I've not been, but I can say that
It's fun.
That those buildings are beautiful old, sort of late 1800s.
Yeah.
One of them is brownstone.
Yep, and the other one is very Greek. I wouldn't even call it Greek revival. It's just Greek in architecture.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
It's very stately.
Yes,
very
very
stately.
like government building looking, you know.
Yeah.
But so adaptive reuse of the historic courthouses, that's the former Superior Courthouse and the County Commissioners Building. Mm-hmm. And I'll put a picture of them up. And they are going to convert them into a mixed-use project, which is both residential and commercial. And from what I understand from people I know who live in Salem and what I've read about the project is that like they are doing a really excellent job of
so
keeping
it's already been slated to development, and they already have a developer.
They already have a developer, yeah. And so from what I understand, the developer was chosen because they are very much concerned with historic preservation and making sure that the character of the buildings are intact and incorporated into whatever design that they ultimately do. I don't know exactly where they are in the process, but
well, it's a heck of a lot better than tearing them down.
Oh, 100%.
Beautiful buildings.
Yeah.
Expensive to redo.
Oh, you couldn't. I mean,
very, very expensive
cost
to redo.
You gazillion dollars. No.
I mean, it's an expensive effort to keep the buildings.
Oh, yeah.
And not tear them down.
And so they got funding. I believe there's some funding for historic preservation funds to keep it correct. I'm probably wrong about that.
There are some grants you can get.
Yeah. So that was, and so then there's another funding for El Centro, which is going to be a health center plus commercial space plus 48 income restricted affordable senior housing units.
El Centro.
Yes.
So why that name?
So it's going to be in the Point in Salem, which is historically a Hispanic community, also a very underserved community. So the fact that they're going to be putting in a community health center is huge because it's
kind of like when they did it in Dorchester, they put in that community health center and everybody uses it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
it's just, this is the fact that they are putting time and effort into a largely forgotten about neighborhood is really amazing.
And money.
Yeah. So it's going to be the intersection of public health, affordable housing, climate preparedness, and community engagement. So that's amazing.
Super Massachusetts is what that is.
Yeah. And then the last one is some money was given for the Jefferson Ave redevelopment project, which is over by Salem State.
You're going to put a map out?
Yeah, I'll put a map out.
I'm not familiar with that.
In South Salem. As part of that, they are looking to actually do it after talking about it for 35 years, put a second commuter rail stop in Salem, in
Ooh.
South Salem, which would be huge because right now that neighborhood, that South Salem, like Salem State Campus area, is
Right.
not accessible to public transportation.
all.
It is a really long walk from the train station in downtown Salem to that neighborhood. And that's been, you know, some people have brought up concerns about some of the developments that are going in there because there is no access to public transportation. So it would be really nice to have that there. They're looking at putting it between Jefferson Ave and Canal Street, near Salem State and Salem Hospital to reduce congestion, improve transit access. And they just currently received $2 million federal raise money to work on the project. It's currently in the design, permitting, but not yet construction phase in Salem. So all good things it's all about community reinvestment. So we need to talk about the spring market next. And I guess the conversation is, because our coach just asked us this question, our real estate coach, how is the war in Iran impacting the spring housing market? And go.
Well, in a lot of ways. First of all, it's really hard to separate a horrible winter from horrible economic conditions.
Is it the war or was it the ice dams?
Well, I think that that's a real good question,
Yeah.
actually. I think that the ice dams and all the things that went with them delayed the market. Last year, we had the lowest number of homes sold in many, many years in the United States. Yeah, in 3 decades.
Yeah.
Lowest. So, you know, we're all hoping, obviously, that will improve for our own greedy reasons. But
I'd like to make some money this year.
I think the biggest impact has been the impact on the interest rates. The markets have gone, financial markets have gone nuts.
Yep.
And unfortunately, it's going to be the same as it always is, the haves and the have-nots. It's going to be the people that have money are going to just sit on the sidelines and wait. And hopefully,
Because they can afford to.
Because they can afford to.
Yep.
And young buyers, I was on the phone with a buyer this morning, interested in buying a home. They're moving from something that would be probably sell for around 800 to something that would sell for about 1.1. And the difference of the interest rate is going to make it a lot more expensive. Even though they're putting $500,000 down in equity, it's going to take it out of the reach of their budget.
Right.
They won't be. They actually said, and this is how it impacts people, we would have to wait to have another child.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge because daycare is $20,000 to $30,000 a year.
Yeah.
Unless you're lucky and you have family near, and that is a unique situation these days. People that have that are very lucky. Moving to our videographer because he does
built-in childcare.
Because he has built-in childcare.
Yeah.
But you know, especially in the infant stage, it's very, very difficult to leave your child with somebody when they're an infant. So I think that the people that are going to be affected, I think the war is definitely affecting it. I'm concerned about long term because there have never been any short wars in the Middle East. In fact, this one's already been going for a couple hundred years. So no matter what side of the fence you're on, I think that war is good for people that make armaments.
Yeah.
It's really good for people who make transportation and all the things that you need to support.
There's a lot
war.
of people out there that can make money off of the war. So, but
Totally.
In terms of that, so I can tell you what I've seen. I mean, there hasn't been a spring market, I will say, that hasn't been insane since I've been licensed. That's just the reality. But you keep on, people keep on saying, well, there's high interest rates and there's this and that. And so, buyer demand is down. I can tell you from being out there, buyer demand is not down.
Not in our area.
No. And,
well, a lot of the stuff we read too,
a lot of stuff that you'll see is national.
Especially on the news.
Yeah.
Especially on the news when they have these reports on CNN or Fox or whatever about the real estate market. They're taking, we were on a call the other day with somebody from Houston, Texas, and she said, oh my God, there are so many homes on the market. That's not the case here.
Florida is struggling really hard too.
Mm-hmm.
We are not. Every house that I go to with buyers, they're talking about an offer deadline, whether it's New Hampshire or Massachusetts. There are multiple offers. My clients won something in Mont Vernon, New Hampshire, with multiple offers. And
what set their offer apart? Was it dollars or?
Oddly enough,
was it terms?
It was terms. They had a really high inspection aggregate.
So you can do that. Oh, that you're in New Hampshire.
Yeah. So right. So I'm surprised that no one waived inspection, but of the offers, I guess no one waived inspection, but we had, we won't ask for any repairs unless one item is over $20,000. And I guess we were the one with the highest aggregate. And so that's like why we won. But I would just say that every open house I'm going to is mobbed. Like you can't walk Same around here. And Same here. Amesbury is one of the towns that has the lowest days to offer in all of Essex County, along with Lawrence, because it's an affordable place to live. So it's still crazy out there. So what I think is happening is that people who own homes already are like, oh, is this the best time to list my house? I don't know.
I think it's affecting them a lot. Yeah.
The world's falling apart. Do I really want to give up my stability? Whereas buyers that haven't yet entered the market are like, well,
my cocoon.
How could it get any worse than it already is? Might as well buy a house when the world is burning. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Well, I think that the kids that need to buy houses because of many reasons. Mostly it's because they're sick of renting. They're sick of paying more than they'd pay for a mortgage for rent. And maybe they're having a child, or I remember when you bought your house, we went out and looked at rentals with you, and it was like they were not where you would
wasn't worth it,
where you wanted to put a baby on the floor. You know? So I think that need is always going to be there, as is the downsizing need is always going to be there. So that's the key part of the market.
And I think that what we always say about listing or buying is the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. Right now we know what the housing market looks like. We know the houses are selling relatively quickly if they're priced right and presented well. I mean, maybe it might take you 2 weeks to sell your house in Newburyport, 3 weeks, you know.
I said that some of the other day. My crystal ball is cloudy about a year from now. I don't know.
Right.
I think the length of the war and the intensity and whatever the hell happens, whatever gets blown up is going to affect.
It will.
It will affect us all.
Yeah. So right now we know what the market looks like. We don't know what it looks like in 6 months, as we've learned over the last year and a half. The economy is very unpredictable right now.
Yep,
everything is very unpredictable. That's the most politically centered
neutral
way that I can say that. Yeah.
Well, with all the other expenses going up, home heating oil, people are rejiggering their budgets. And before the war started, we were at 4.9 in some places. You could get a good mortgage rate. Now it's 6.5.
Well, I mean, even gas prices. So almost all of our cars take 93. But I will say the car that I drive every day, my daily driver, it's for a Volkswagen. It takes 87, and I have never been more grateful that I have one car in my driveway that takes 87. I'm really glad
I plugged my car in. So
I'm glad I don't drive a microwave, but that's just me. So on to. Do you want me to do this?
Former HJB Thomas Hospital site at 15 King Street.
Yeah. So this is a former hospital that is off of Lowell Street in Peabody. The development company is called Hemisphere. They want to demolish the building, which has been vacant for a while from what I understand, and put 133 units, 40B, 25% affordable, which would be 34 units. Earlier they talked about doing 55 and over condos, which...
So these are rentals. Are these rentals?
No, I think these are condos. These are condos. But they got such awful pushback about the 55 and over that condos that they withdrew their application. So neighbors in city are objecting over traffic always, parking always, infrastructure, schools, safety. I don't know why safety, but
so February 18th was the deadline for comments to Mass Housing. So Mass Housing is involved.
Yeah.
And this is what they got.
500 signatures
to
and
be
50
hand
letters.
delivered. Somebody took the time to hand deliver.
Yeah.
50 letters and petitions with 500 signatures opposing the project. So that's not going to happen.
Well, so Peabody is currently under their state minimum for affordable housing by 10%. So I mean, if the
40B can
and if they want to keep fighting, they really don't have any choice. The town has very little say in it. If they're going to go after
they go to the state, they'll get it.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, in these situations, like, yes, I understand that maybe traffic will be increased in your neighborhood, but I mean, I'm more than positive that people lived in that neighborhood when it was an operating hospital. So like,
That's kind of like our Brown School.
yeah, like,
discussion.
how is that much different? Maybe you're used to that as quiet now, but it's like boarded up and like condemned now, essentially. And I've heard there's like issues with rodents and stuff like
I'm
that.
sure
So it's
there
like,
are.
well, my question is, in these situations where people oppose this stuff, like, what do you want instead? That's my question. And that's a genuine question. Like, if not, you know, a condo complex, what in an ideal world? And if I swear to God, if I hear someone say, well, make it a park, it's like, that's not profitable. I'm sorry, no offense, like, it's not profitable for
It's not
for
even
anyone.
profitable. It's not viable.
Right.
Right?
That
Parks
would
take maintenance. Who's going to pay?
It'd be great,
Who's going to mow the lawn?
but like, you know, you're talking about millions and millions of dollars. What for? I mean,
For nothing to come in.
yeah, they're not gonna, because at the end of the day, like,
Time will tell.
It's for profit. So if not this, what would you want in its place? Because I guarantee you that people don't want a defunct hospital with rats in its place instead of
quiet.
condos. It is quiet.
All right, so now we got a big last minute controversy that we've been running into around town.
Yeah.
So I filter my water, so I don't drink the Newburyport water as it comes out of the tap. But people are saying it stinks.
Yeah.
What are you hearing, Rach?
Yeah, so I've seen all over. So I'm on well water, but my best friend lives on Main Street in West Newbury, and she has city water
From Newburyport.
From Newburyport,
Yeah.
And she said it smells disgusting. It is cloudy. It is murky. It is just disgusting looking. And I have seen post after post about this on Facebook. And the response from the city there's been a couple of responses. So on March 3rd, they acknowledged that there were issues with the taste, the odor, the color. The city's initial response that the issue was aesthetic and not a health risk. I don't know. Like, I have a hard time. Some people are saying they felt like gaslit by like the city. They're like, there's no problem with it. It just looks kind of
Problem? What are you talking about?
Yeah. So on March 10th, the city said the main cause was geosmin.
Geosmin.
Okay, an earthy, musty compound linked to algae/cyanobacteria and reservoir conditions. The city tied it to ice cover sea because of the winter that we have. It's the damn bad winter again.
Killing the real estate market, killing our water.
Seasonal turnover in the aftermath of last summer's bloom in the Artichoke Reservoir. The city said geosim levels tested at 250 to 350. I don't know what that means. So some of the discolor issues were blamed on manganese. Okay.
Manganese.
The city said it increased monitoring and shifted to more frequent testing. It also adjusted potassium dosing. Yeah, I don't know what half this is. So short term, the city's response is that they're treating the water. Long term, they're saying that they need a new water treatment plant. But I just want to say, like, yeah, I'm not drinking like cloudy brown water.
No, I'm not either.
And for them to be like, it's fine to drink, like, who's going to drink that? I just want to know. And we're not talking about the hydrant flushing, because look, I've been in this area for a long time. Every time there's hydrant flushing, the water does turn brown temporarily.
Yeah, you get rust in your toilet and all that
totally
stuff.
normal.
And that'll be happening now. I just got a letter about it.
Yeah, and that's normal. But this is like
to Low Street or whatever. Yeah,
this is totally separate from that.
Yeah.
And I just think that, like, kind of brushing the comments aside and be like, it's not going to harm you, it's fine, is a little like
new water treatment plant too. That's going to sting, because we paid a lot for our water treatment plant.
When was it built?
I don't know, but I just know
long time ago.
There have just been so many things to reduce the smell of the sewage treatment plant and the water treatment and the this and the that, and it's just like enough.
I think Newburyport water tastes terrible.
Do you?
Oh God, the tap water, I've never liked it.
Huh.
For as long as it goes back.
I have a filter in my fridge, but I don't know that it changes anything.
Well, I mean, you haven't gotten gross water.
This isn't water, though. This is soda, just so you know.
You didn't get any gross water here?
No. What did you think when you were in my bathroom? Did it smell like
it
sulfur?
It smelled sulfury to me.
I get the smell.
Are you on well or public?
Town water.
Yeah, you're probably public. I have it at my house, but that's from well, and it's from stuff in the pipes.
Yeah.
So, and we
You do everything you're supposed
bleached
to.
the lines because it's just sediment that builds up in the actual pipes. It's really easy to fix. But that's for well water. This is not, if you have town water, it's kind of one of those things where you just have to like suck it up and deal with it. But
So nothing to worry about is not what we want to hear.
nothing to see here. Just disgusting looking water.
Oh, come on.
Well, but that's it.
That's it.
We're done.
End of episode 8, and we will see you the next time.